Let's replay 5 matches that I played without losing a point. Million bagels in the Tour 7 of Tennis Clash, a sports game published by White Life Studios. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel Gameplay 365 and to turn on the bell if you like this video. So I was playing with 2 different characters during those 5 matches, Kaito and Viktoria. In the first match, it looks like my opponent was waiting too much for me to hit first before reacting. So instead of trying to anticipate, and that's why he was very often late and had to use the long catch even if he had a very high agility attribute of 90 points. So whenever his stamina was low, he wanted to hit the winner to try to end the rally. But the precision of his hits was then degraded, like here, by this lower stamina. And he didn't take that into account. That made a lot of his balls come out of bounds. And he didn't like my cross-court drop shots neither. Generally speaking, well, he preferred to hit hard balls rather than soft balls. So whenever I gave him soft balls, he was hitting them out very often. And of course, in some rallies, like here, I was outflanking him too. Was just not trying to hit soft shots to diversify the power of shots. And in that case, it was not a problem of lack of anticipation anymore. He was just outflanked. And it was too late for him to take the initiative back. He tried hard for the last point, but it was too late, and he coated the net at the end. Let's take a look again. The African string was very good. Same stamina shield than my jockey court. So the second match was the duel between a high serve, strong forehand Viktoria, was me, and an aggressive baseliner Viktoria. I simply kept hitting strong returns on my opponent's weak serve and hitting hard strokes after my big serve to try to outflank my opponent, like here. And that worked not too bad. And well, my opponent committed mainly on forced errors when she was not definitely outflanked by my winners. Sometimes, like the previous point, she would try to hit hard towards the corner on my backhand, which was weaker but hit the ball too long. So I hit my combo during this match to just saw it, and it worked fine to outflank her. She succeeded into getting back on track, but it was too late to be offensive again. And then afterwards, well, with a lower stamina, it was hard for her to run after having been outflanked. And I ended with this cross-court shot. So of course the matches don't last long. That's almost always the case when you have a bagel scores. So in the third match, it's against Viktoria, aggressive baseliner versus a Kaito counterpuncher. I had to defend right from the start of the match, but I was going to turn some defensive shot like here into offensive one. And then I'll flank at my opponent. And I was going to do that again in the second point. Like here, defensive shot that was becoming an offensive one. And that's enough to outflank. So in the third point, my opponent made an unforced error. And in the fourth point, well, my opponent was anticipating the wrong side, so it was easy to outflank him for good there. Of course, in matches with bagel score, there are a lot of unforced errors, and it was an unforced error on the fifth point. In the 6th point, where I started with a very hard attack, putting my opponent in a difficult position right after his serve, and after that, it was easy to keep outflanking him by hitting hard strokes toward the opposite corner. On the match point, with my opponent's stamina being reduced, well, I just had to hit a strong return, not even in the corner, to outflank him and then to end the match. Yeah. So in the 4th match, I was playing versus a volley player that I never saw beforehand in Tour 7. A newcomer, probably. His agility and volley stats didn't seem to be enough to counter defensive baseliner strokes. And I was playing, as you can see, a bit closer to the net, so as to get ready to catch those potential drop volleys triggered by quick catch. So I simply applied the recommendation that I gave in my how to counter volley videos, hitting a lot towards the corner. So this opponent was apparently not experienced playing with the volley style, and that was visible on the 4th point, the previous point, when she was too static and didn't rush quickly enough to the net, or on this point, the 5th point, where she was moving to the wrong side instead of staying by the center, like a lot of experienced volley players I have played against would do. On the 2 last points, well, I was playing close enough to the net and she didn't volley back my hits a dangerous way, so it was not tricky countering them. A very experienced volley player would try to volley differently. I was playing a lot of them, and yeah, they didn't volley that way for sure. So in the 5th and last match, my opponent is like a lot of opponents during the previous matches, going to commit a bit too many unforced errors while trying to return my soft cross-court shots. And I succeeded in outflanking him several times too. Bit like here, that was easy afterwards. In some rallies, I just countered his strong hits. Yeah, he definitely didn't like my soft cross-court shots. So yeah, I turned some defensive shots into offensive ones and outflanking him in the process. And once he's outflanked, it was easy to hit the winner, as you can imagine. So you can note that it was still possible to play with the choker courts without losing much stamina in this match. It is very hard right now doing that because things are hot fixed in Tennis Clash. Playing with a string having only stamina shear until 1, which is the case with the choker courts, drains your stamina much faster than playing with a string having the stamina shear until 2, like you would have with the Maestro Monte. And that's why Maestro Monte is so fashionable right now. Everybody's using it into a 7, and I guess into I2, unless they play with the best special strings there. Alright, I'm going to show you the build that I used the most during those 5 matches with Kaito. So I just leveled up the Koi, and I'm not far from having the hammer in the forge at level 12 now. Well, I hope you enjoy watching my 5 matches without losing a point in the Tour 7 of Tennis Clash, a sports game published by Life Studios. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel Gameplay 365 to stay tuned for new videos of Tennis Clash. Thank you a lot for your support, and see you soon on Gameplay 365. Bye-bye.